Hello, sweet summer children. Hello, 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 hello. I love you. Hello. The dragons of Game of Thrones and A Song of Ice and Fire are one of the most magical parts of an otherwise dark story. We know best Drogon with his midnight black scales alive with scarlet, Rhaegal with his green scales flecked with glimmering bronze, and Viserion, the golden dragon with cream swirled through his scales and wings. He's ruined now, bless his heart. Hashtag rest in peace Viserion. But before Drogon, Rhaegal, and Viserion, there were names like Balerion the Black Dread, Meraxes, and Veigar. They were the names of some of the greatest beasts of House Targaryen, and the names of gods in Valyria before the Doom turned their religion to dust. What isn't talked about much by anyone is the dragons from history and how they were used in war and what that could mean for the wars to come. If you missed the Wake the Dragon and the Secrets of Valyria podcast, I'll link that at the top so you can listen to that, because that will cover anything dragon and Valyria and Valerian and Valyria and dragon and Valerian that's not covered in this video. So culturefly sent me this awesome Game of Thrones subscription box. It's packed with a bunch of one-of-a-kind Game of Thrones collector's items. Only 5,000 of these boxes were made, and guess what? One of you can win one. To win a Game of Thrones box from culturefly, all you need to do is be a subscriber to my channel, like this video, and comment on this video, and I'll randomly choose a winner, and culturefly will send you out a Game of Thrones box. Is this Jaime Lannister gold hand? I admit, not the most cutest thing that you've ever seen. Oh yeah, and free ghosts. So if you're interested in getting a box, I'll leave the link below. But let's get started on dragons. Dragons and dragons. Dragons are the most mythical beasts to roam the sky of the known world. Many things aren't known about these spectacular beasts. The mating habits of dragons aren't known, and as most everything in A Song of Ice and Fire, the histories are fucking conflicting. One history says the dragons that lay eggs are female and the dragons who don't are male, but Maester Aemon says that dragons are unisex. Now one, now the other, changeable as flame. Basically, a dragon can change their sex depending on need. Either way, dragons lay eggs, and their eggs are large and scaled and come in a variety of colors. The colors of the eggs usually depicting the color that the dragon will be. It is even rumored that while Prince Jacaerys negotiated the Pact of Ice and Fire with Cregan Stark, that his dragon Vermax laid a clutch of dragon eggs inside the crypts of Winterfell before he died during the Dance of Dragons. The dragons are best known for breathing fire, but they have sharp teeth that will bite your body in half with one snap of their strong jaws or swallow you whole. It is said that Balerion the Black Dread could eat an auroch whole. It is also said a dragon's jaw is so strong that it can bite through plate and armor. If their fire doesn't incinerate you and their teeth don't rip you apart, then they have horns and claws long as a sword and sharp as Valyrian steel, strong enough to rip through dragon scale, ringmail, plate, or armor. Tails like whips, whose lashing blows have been known to smash wagons to splinters, break the spine of war horses, and send men flying 50 feet in the air. As fierce and deadly as dragons may be, it would take a fool to think that they are invincible, especially when history has taught us the exact opposite. A dragon's scales are largely, though not entirely, impervious to flame. They protect the more vulnerable flesh and musculature beneath. As a dragon ages, its scales thicken and grow harder, affording even more protection, even as its flames burn hotter and fiercer. Where the flames of a hatchling can set straw aflame, the flames of Balerion or Veigar in the fullness of their power could and did melt steel and stone. Dragon bones are strong as well. Strong as steel, yet flexible. The high iron content in dragon bone causes the dragon bones to be black as iron. The bones are used to make weapons. Bows made of dragon bone are highly sought after and may cost you a king's ransom to own one. But still, Their bones can break, their scales can be penetrated, their wings can be ripped from their bodies, and they can die, as we all know so well. But most of the dragons of House Targaryen were killed during the Dance of Dragons by other dragons. The Dance of Dragons was the deadly Targaryen civil war. If you don't know the details of that story, I got you covered. It's linked at the top and in the description box. But at the start of the Dance of Dragons, the Targaryens had dragons upon dragons. Arax, Caraxes, Dreamfire, Meleys, Moondancer, Morgul, Morning, Seasmoke, Sheepstealer, Sunfire, Viserion, Tyraxus, Vermax, Vermithor, Veigar, Grey Ghost, Shrykos, Stormcloud, Silverwing. But at the end of the Dance of Dragons, only 2 remained. The reports are conflicting, some say 4, but either way, those did not live long lives. While Rhaenyra's son Aegon the Dragonbane set the throne, the last dragon was born, and she was a pitiful thing, sickly, small, misshapen, and stunted. When she died, the magic grew weaker, the summers grew shorter, and the winters grew longer. However, while the Dance of Dragons was in full swing, we gotta look at what dragon-on-dragon combat really looks like, and the horror that it ended in. The first dragon-on-dragon battle was between Prince Aemon One-Eye riding Veigar and Lucerys Velaryon riding Arax above Storm's End off of Shipbreaker Bay. During a raging storm, Arax and his rider Lucerys struggled to make through the winds and thunder and heavy rains. Aemon chased them down on Veigar. Arax was younger and swifter. If the storm hadn't been raging, Arax could have possibly outflown the much older Veigar, but he didn't. Veigar was 5 times the size of Arax. Being Visenya's own mount, he was a champion of many battles and no stranger to warfare. Blast of fire and a few shrieks and the dragons locked together. Arax's head and neck was ripped from his body. It washed ashore days later. So did Lucerys' body. This dragon-on-dragon battle wasn't a fair one. It was an easy win for Aemon One-Eye. Because of Veigar's size, Arax was no match for Veigar. So will Viserion be a match for Drogon? The next dragon-on-dragon fight during the dance was a trap. It was between Rhaenys riding Meleys, the Red Queen, Aemon One-Eye riding Veigar, and King Aegon the Usurper riding Sunfire. Meleys took scorpion bolts, arrows from crossbows, but they did nothing but make her angry. If this battle had been just between Veigar and Meleys, it would have been a good fight, and Meleys may have stood a chance. But against 2 dragons, doom was certain. And this is a direct quote from the books, so I don't think that 1 dragon can stand to 2. The dragons met violently, 1,000 feet in the air, fire bursting. Meleys sunk her razor teeth into Sunfire, then Veigar attacked from behind, and they all went whirling towards the ground. Meleys was dead from the fall. Half of Sunfire's wing was torn from his body, and the usurper suffered broken ribs, a broken hip, and burns over half of his body. Veigar and Aemon were unhurt. 2 dragons will almost always defeat 1 dragon, but at what cost? Veigar and Sunfire were able to take down Meleys, but Sunfire's wing was ripped off, and she fell on top of her rider, breaking his ribs, breaking his hip, and his armor even fused to his body. So dragons fighting dragons is costly. The next battle I want to talk about is the battle above the God's Eye between Veigar and Aemon One-Eye, and Caraxes and Daemon. This fight may have been the fairest fight in the Dance of Dragons. They fought above the God's Eye. They went into the clouds. While Veigar searched for Caraxes, suddenly, as a thunderbolt, Caraxes dove upon Veigar, and they locked together. Caraxes had Veigar by the neck, jaws closed tight, but Veigar raked open Caraxes' belly, and her teeth ripped off a wing. Daemon never fastened himself to his saddle. He leaped from Caraxes onto Veigar with Dark Sister in his hand and stuck the Valyrian steel through the eye of Aemon One-Eye. Half a heartbeat later, both dragons and riders struck the lake, and they're all dead. Dragons fighting dragons doesn't end well. The Dance of Dragons taught us that dragon against dragon warfare is complicated. It requires great sacrifice and it almost never ends well. But there are different tactics that can be deployed that will help the dragons defeat the Night King. I think the dragons will be a big component of beating the Night King, but dragons without riders are a liability. The Dance of Dragons also showed us this. I actually think that Rhaegal and Drogon will be able to kill Viserion because they are two and Viserion is one, but it is likely they will rip his wings apart, claw his cuts open, bite his head off, and burn him. And Viserion could cut one of them open, rip one of their wings off, hurt one of their riders. In order for them to be successful, their riders' lives will be at stake, and as of yet, Rhaegal has never been ridden, although it's highly theorized that Jon Snow will indeed mount the dragon that was named for his father. If he does mount a dragon, it's highly unlikely it would be Drogon. Dragons are particular creatures. One man can only ride one dragon. Because Daenerys rides Drogon, she could never mount Rhaegal. It was said that even Aegon the Conqueror never dared mount Veigar or Meraxes, nor did his sisters mount Balerion the Black Dread. Dragons live longer than men, some for hundreds of years, so Balerion had other riders after Aegon died, but no rider ever flew two dragons. Rhaegal would be a help for sure, but Drogon is much bigger than Viserion, as Drogon roamed free and Viserion and Rhaegal were kept in confinement. The bond between dragon and dragon riders seems to almost be genetics, but we can just say magic. However, there is evidence of interbreeding to create dragon riders, or the Valyrians actually having blood of the dragon or some genetic defect, because we've seen Targaryen babies born with wings and scales and tails and all of that jazz. Not only that, but the dragons seem to be able to sense their riders, sense when they're in need. Drogon appears in Meereen just as Daenerys is about to die. He saves her life. Quaithe tells Daenerys in a vision, "Remember who you are, Daenerys." The stars whispered in a woman's voice. The dragons know. Do you? So a bond between the Targaryens and their dragons is hard to understand, but dragons will be the main weapon in the wars to come. And Rhaegal and Drogon will likely kill the shit out of Viserion. They will probably rip him apart. But at what cost? But what do you think? As always, thanks for watching. Thanks to everyone that supports me on Patreon. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please click that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and join the Sweet Summer family. Okay, my sweet summer children, have a good day.